Well, welcome to everybody. We're very excited to start off this year. We are undefeated. Our kids have a great attitude and mindset, and we are looking forward to an outstanding season. And we've changed our expectations from teaching them to compete to teaching them to compete to win. So we're trying to win some football games, and I think we've got the right mindset to do it. We've got the right staff to do it, and we're very excited to get things started.
Why or how will this season be better than last season?
Well, we have more experience. Our kids are bigger, stronger, and faster. I think Shawane Lawrence is actually shaving now. He's 18 years old, so our kids have developed. They've got a better understanding of what we're asking them to do, from scheme standpoint to just us as people, as coaches. We've got a great staff, and our young men their attitude is totally different. They expect to win. They expect to compete, to win football games every time they step on the football field. And I can't say that was the case in the past, but we're more mature, and we've got a great group of young men, character-wise.
Who are the guys you're expecting to count on as far as in leadership roles for your team?
Leadership: Joe Peterson, A.J. Kaplan, Sean Jepson, Nick Arbuckle. There's a lot more that are developing, and we're still developing more. But Keith Rucker, Joel Ruiz, young men that have kind of taken the reins over the summer and through spring football and winter conditioning, and that do most of the talking to the team. And I'm sure there'll be some pleasant surprises that develop.
Say a little bit about the fact that you're kicking off the football season on a Wednesday as opposed to a Thursday, which is sort of because the fact that the Georgia Dome wasn't available on that Thursday. You see that as an advantage or a disadvantage?
Well, it's an advantage that we're the first game of the season. We'd love to. That gets us on ESPNU, and we will get a chance to have a national presence, and people see the product that we're putting out there, and hopefully we'll get a good crowd. Your students will be on campus. You catch them on a Wednesday, and school starts on that Monday, so we'll have hopefully more students out there. When you don't deal with Friday, like last year we opened up on a Friday night, and you had Friday night high school football, so we don't have to compete against high school football, and we're the first game of the year. So that is all the positives towards it. Hopefully we get a nice crowd. On the flip side, it gives us a few days less preparation because of the waiver that we had to get from the NCAA. We're not allowed to come in earlier and start practices. So if you normally start on that Saturday, you'd have a couple more practices opportunities. But we're not. That's not going to be a reason whether or not we play well or not.
Coach, talk a little bit about the things you were able to do this spring compared to last year that allows you to come into the camp able to do some things that you weren't confident, I guess, in doing last year this time.
Well, we had a year with our players. So we had another year to evaluate what they can do, what are their strengths. It allowed us to get in a junior college quarterback transfer and some offensive linemen from junior college that got into the system. And it was just another year under their belt with learning what we're asking them to do. And then with the new rules this year, the NCAA allowing us to meet with them in the summertime, which we've never been able to do before. I think we're way ahead. I think it's put us on a course, and which really helps your freshmen that come in, so that tomorrow's not the first time they're dealing with us. They've already dealt with us, for all of June and some of July. So, it puts kids ahead mentally, and gives them a faster track to be able to get out and compete early.
What are the strongest and weakest position groups on the team coming into the August practices?
Well, I think the strength-wise, I think we're going to be pretty strong up front on the offensive line. I'm hoping that they're all strengths, to be honest with you. I'll let you know if there's weaknesses. Right now, I'm counting on everybody being a strength.
Just to follow up, why offensive line stronger this year than last year?
Well, we're bigger, and I think we're going to have more continuity. I mean, if you remember last year, we played with 5 different centers. You know, we started off the season, one guy had to miss the first 4 games, you know, barring injury. I mean, if we can keep healthy, that's the key. If we can stay healthy, I think we'll have better continuity up front. And anytime you've got the same guys out there competing all the time and get to know each other and what they're thinking, then you've got a better chance to be productive. I'm not going to single them out as the strength of the team. I started with them, then I caught myself. The whole team is we're looking for the whole team to be the strength.
You mentioned a couple times that this is going to be a process of being able to get to your personnel to where you want it to be. It's going to take several recruiting classes. Talk about where you think personnel-wise you're better prepared for what you want to do with the football team you want it to look like than you were last year.
Well, last year, I don't even dwell on last year. This year, being better prepared to do what we want to do. Again, another year under Jesse Minner and Jeff Jagosinski and getting to understand what they're asking them to do. And I think our kids have a great understanding of that. And when you have that, and that allows you to play fast. Our kids will be able to go out and play a lot faster this year than they could in the past because they're not going to be thinking as much because they know it. You know, and they know it like the back of their hand. So that will really put them in a position to be able to compete on Saturdays a lot better, or Wednesday a lot better. We're still not where we want to be. You know, we still have a ways to go. I mean, again, I will preach patience. You know, if you don't understand that word, then you'll have an issue with us because, you know, we're still in the process of building a program, you know, that Coach Curry did such a great job of starting. And we're just trying to pick up where he left off and take it to the, you know, the FBS level, and we're still building that. And that's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight.
Of course, most of the attention as far as the quarterback battle is, of course, are on Nick Arbuckle and Ronnie Bell. But also say a little bit about Emir Scaife, the freshman quarterback who you brought out of North Carolina.
Well, I'll have a lot to say about him after I get to see him throw the ball. I've never seen him throw the football in person other than when he was in high school. So we're not allowed to work with him with the ball in the summertime. So he'll get a lot of reps. He's an outstanding person, great student. Great character young man that's about 6'4", 225 pounds, and can throw it through a brick wall. So, you know, I can't wait to get out there with him tomorrow and see what he does and how he does it. And, you know, he has maturity for his age, and hopefully he'll have a great understanding of what we're asking him to do and how to practice.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Good. You talked a little bit about the improvements and additions to the offensive line. Obviously, that should help the running game this year, and you should have a pretty good battle amongst all the backs that we have.
Yeah, well, we have to run the ball better. You know, we don't have a choice. We have to go out and establish a run game to take pressure off of the receivers and the quarterback. You know, it's kind of hard when you go out there and you're one-dimensional. Or last year we should have called it the Albert Wilson dimensional. So we don't have that luxury this year. We have to go out and establish a run game, hopefully be as balanced as we can be, and keep our defense off the field as much as we can. It's hard to do that when you got 50% completion percentage, and so all those things have to improve. And with the offensive line being bigger than we were in the past, you know, it's still, you know, you're still having to replace a draft choice. I mean, we're still having to replace Ulrich John, who's with the Colts right now. You know, he was drafted into the NFL, so he could do some good things. So we've got some things we have to prove. By no means are we ready up front, all ready right now or anything like that. We're going to be better. You know, we're going to be better because they've got a great coach in Harold Etheridge, and they've got a great scheme, and they've got a great staff with Coach Jags and his staff, and they've got size now. We're bigger than we were. You know, I don't know if we had a guy 300 pounds last year. Now I think, you know, across the board up front, we're over 300. So just that alone will help us.
Can you expand on the progress the team made in the strength and conditioning program during the offseason and how that is going to affect your chances of victory this year?
Well, the progress that they made was mostly due to their attitude. I mean, their attitude to work, to want to work and work together was something that you could sense, you know, in the locker room. Then when you go into the weight room and watch them and how they performed, and obviously Coach Pollard did a good job of implementing what needs to get them physically better, but their attitude, just the way they approached everything. And we talked earlier today, this is a privilege, it's not an entitlement. And that's the same attitude our players have taken, and they took it into the weight room, that it was a privilege to be there and work at it. And, nobody wants to be over, So these young men have trained to not ever be in that situation again. And then the other side of it, you got to look at, we only have 11 seniors on the roster, and I think only 5 of them are starters. So that means we're a very young football team. So those kids got better in the weight room just because of the natural maturation process, physically. We've got a better nutrition program. We're feeding them better. They're taking care of their bodies, and they're naturally getting bigger. Again, I mentioned Shawane, 17 years old during the season all season last year. Now he's 18. And anytime you get older, you get stronger. So they're getting naturally they're getting bigger and stronger. Imagine what it'd be like in 2 years, 2 more years.
BJ Clay and Alex Sawyer were 2 guys that you were able to bring in January last year through the process, and there were 2 guys that stood out in the spring that you had mentioned. Alex was competing for a starting spot by the end, and you mentioned several times that BJ was one of the surprises for you. Talk about those 2 guys and what you expect out of contribution-wise from them.
I expect a great deal. I'll start off. They're excellent young men with good character. They're good students. They're young men that it matters to, and they have ability. So when you take that, smart, tough,
Character, love the game.
has great character, loves the game. Okay, you mix that with a coach like Jesse Minner or Harold Etheridge or Tim Lopano or Jeff Jagozinski or PJ Volker, Shannon Jackson. You've got a lot. You'll have a good product, and those kids will turn into really good players as they go. They need experience, but the chemistry's there.
Can you just talk some more about Shawane and kind of, he seems to me to be an example of the type of player, both in terms of the checklist that you have, but also in that he's kind of, y'all discovered him. A lot of schools just passed over him, but he's the type of building block that this program is going to have to turn into a winning program.
Well, and Shawane is a great example, but we feel we have a lot of building blocks, not just he, but there's a lot of guys on our roster that I give our staff great credit for being able to evaluate and look at talent and not get caught up into who's recruiting them and who's not recruiting them. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, does he fit our profile? And do we trust our own eyes? And we did that with Shawane. We did that with McKindy, Cherador, Robert Davis. Look at Robert Davis. Robert Davis did not have a Division I offer. He only had one Division II offer. And here's a young man that's 6'3", 200 pounds, that runs 4.4, high jump 6'10", with a 42-inch vertical, and had 44 catches his true freshman year. So they're out there, and I credit the staff for being able to evaluate and identify those guys, and the effort of going out and turning over every stone. It's not just those. There's a team full of them. There'll be some this year that you're going to say, wow, how did they come to Georgia State? Because our staff went out and did their job. And when you have a staff that we have, and they go out and work the way they do, you're going to find guys like that. And you build a team that way.
Do the expectations change for some of these sophomores after they played, a lot of snaps their freshman year? What goals do you have for them compared to last year?
Win. Just to win, to get better. We're get better coaches. We want them to get better. And as long as we're doing that, we're going to find ways to win games. The experience is something that you can't replace. They had the experience of going out last year and competing and just getting their nose bloodied to see what it's like at the FBS level. And now we want to go out and be able to hold our own ground and take ground. So these guys, that experience of going out last year was well worth it for them. And now we'll be able to rely better on fundamentals and techniques to be able to allow you to execute better in games.
Any injury updates?
Injury updates, we're really healthy going in. Dexter Andrews, a walk-on for us, is still out recovering from torn ACL surgery, and Robert Davis, our receiver, is starting off with a sprained ankle. He did, throwing over the summertime, but nothing serious, and we'll hold him out until his ankle feels fine.